We are going now to be joined by Representative Brian Jack from 3rd Congressional District in Georgia. Prior to joining this edition of Congress, you worked with President Trump, and we're going to get into a bunch of different things. But when you see all of the stories coming out about the Russiagate hoax and everything that surrounds that, how impactful were those hoaxes when Trump 1.0 was underway? What did you see in those days?
Well, first and foremost, as someone who listens to the show, it's an honor to be a guest for the first time on it, and I hope this is the first of many conversations to come. But to your point, I joined President Trump's campaign in some of the earliest days of his 2016 campaign. And when he went to the White House, I served in the White House from the very first to very last day of his administration. And while that administration set records across his agenda, this administration is setting even more records. And I think what we as a team learned throughout these last 10 years is to focus on the policies that matter to Americans, especially at election time, which are the economy, which are immigration, safety at home, and try to avoid as best you can distractions that don't allow us to make our case to the American people, and likewise don't allow us to deliver wins to the American people. So I think we've all endured quite a bit of those hoaxes, as you've mentioned, and I myself am no exception to it. And ultimately, I think we're all excited this August to be talking about the president's One Big Beautiful Bill and what we're going to accomplish the rest of this Congress, especially around boxing, which is what I'm very excited about.
I'm going to get to that in a moment, but you have seen certainly the news about Hulk Hogan. A lot of our audience has been reacting, just an unbelievable cultural icon from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. I bet that you have some Hulk Hogan memories, and obviously last year on the stage at the RNC. What do you remember about the cultural icon of Hulk Hogan?
Sure. Well, I'm myself a big WWE fan and was an even bigger WCW fan back in the day. Admittedly, I was a big Goldberg fan. I actually went just a few weeks ago to see his retirement match in Atlanta, and it was very special for me because 27 years before he retired, I also was at Hulk versus Goldberg at the Georgia Dome. I don't know if you used to watch Monday Nitro, but I was at that show. So 27 years later, to have an opportunity to watch Goldberg retire was an incredible opportunity, incredible experience. And that having been said as it relates to the Hulk, I mean, he to your point, is an American icon. And frankly, and I know we're going to get into boxing, but that's what inspires me about trying to revive boxing, this once great American sport. But the heroes of boxing yesterday is something that inspires me to try to get this legislation passed so we can have heroes and cultural icons like Muhammad Ali in the sport going forward.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think if you're around my age, you grew up in the Mike Tyson era of boxing. Mike Tyson was the must-watch guy when I was a kid growing up. A lot of people out there older have different boxers that they watched. MMA has taken off. In fact, President Trump has said next year he's going to have a UFC event on the South Lawn of the White House, which I'm hoping I get to go to because that's going to be one of the most badass sporting events of all time. Boxing has struggled sometimes in this culturally relevant space. WWE has monster audiences still. We know that the UFC has unbelievable audience as well. Huge percentages of our audience would be paying attention to those events on a regular basis. But boxing has struggled to keep pace. Why do you think that is, and what are you trying to do to help bring boxing back in the United States?
Well, what I find most interesting is that boxing, professional boxing, is the only sport regulated by Congress. And I think that perhaps some of your listeners may not have been aware of that, nor too have some of my colleagues been aware of that. So part of this is informing and letting people know that Congress actually has a legitimate role in operating in the space because we have history here. In 1996, Congress tried to address some of the health and safety issues in boxing, and they passed the Professional Boxing Safety Act of 96. In 2000, Congress came back and passed the Muhammad Ali Act, which helped address some of the corruptive nature of the sport. I think one of the challenges in the last 25 years, again, it's been 25 years, a quarter of a century since Congress touched and enacted any legislation around boxing. You've seen this precipitous decline in the sport. Viewership's down, pay-per-view buys are down. And I think one of the challenges is we haven't seen innovation in this sport for 25 years. The reason why we have not seen innovation, and the reason why I yesterday introduced the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act, is because we need to clarify existing law where it's ambiguous so that we can usher in new types of organizations, new types of business models, so to speak, to come into this sport and function alongside the sanctioning organizations that will continue to function in this sport. We want to have more choice and more opportunities for boxers. We need legislation that defines who can operate in this space and how they can operate in this space. And we've got to clarify what's there, because no innovation will not yield the next generation of heroes that we're trying to deliver.
And I would imagine we would also like to have more of the biggest fights in the United States, right? To the extent that we could help make that happen. I know boxing is a global brand business now, and people pay for them to go all over the world. But I would imagine part of that goal is to make it possible for us to have great fights again here in the United States.
Well, to your point, I mean, people on the show, you know where you were when Holyfield Tyson. You may remember where you were in '85, Hagler, Hearn. So I think that when you think about what we're trying to accomplish here, it's to build consensus around the country that we need Congress to move on this legislation. We've got to have an update after 25 years, and we need to deliver innovation opportunities for those that are interested in operating in the sport. And innovation is going to generate, in my mind, it's going to generate a lot of American interest in the sport. You're going to see folks coming up, and some of the safety protections and some of the compensation enhancements that we're adding to this bill are going to, again, motivate and excite people about wanting to get involved in the sport. It's been 37 years since American has won a gold medal. I hope the next gold medalist is inspired by this legislation and gets back into the ring and fights their way to a champion.
I would love to have an American gold medal boxer. I'd also just like to have men actually win men's boxing and women win women's boxing. How crazy is it that the president had to put a rule in place so the United States Olympic Committee would say, hey, women's sports can only be, for the Olympics, competed in by women?
Well, and again, I think that ultimately there may be people that try to inject some of those culture wars into this, but this is a really sound piece of legislation. And ultimately, we have protections for male boxers and we have protections for female boxers within this legislation. The key of it is ensuring that we provide more opportunities for boxers to engage in the sport, earn better compensation in the sport, have greater health and safety protection. And I think anybody listening, it's been 25 years, a quarter of a century since we've updated boxing laws. It's long overdue. If we're able to pass this, you're going to usher in a whole new era of innovation that's going to revitalize and revive the sport. And let me just also say, we're calling it the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act because we have the endorsement of Lonnie Ali, the wife of Muhammad Ali. That was very special to us, and she has a very special statement in support of it. And we also have the endorsement of the Association of Boxing Commissions. The ABC is considered the gold standard in the sport, so having their input, helping learn from them how best to shape this legislation, I think yielded an incredible product.
Congressman, we appreciate you listening to the show. Thanks for all the work you've done for President Trump. This sounds like a bill that makes a lot of sense. You're listening to Brian Jack representing the 3rd Congressional District of Georgia. Hope we can keep keeping you entertained on this, and good luck with the bill.
It was an honor speaking with you. I'm a big fan of yours, big fan of the show. And as a fellow listener, like I said, I would love to come back on and share. We expect September, October, we'll start to see some movement in the committee process. But as we move toward our 250th anniversary next year, let's revive this once great American sport. Thank you.
No doubt. Thank you. That's Congressman Brian Jack, 3rd Congressional District in Georgia. We come back. More reactions to Hulk Hogan's untimely passing, 71 years old. Also, Russiagate, an update on what's going on with Epstein, all that and more to close out the program. But I want to tell you about my buddy Ben and his wife Corley and the incredible business that they have built with Good Ranchers. Look, if you got kids, and I got 3, you probably are thinking all the time, hey, what can I feed them that's healthy? What can I make sure I'm giving them that is not loaded with preservatives and that is actually organic and American raised? That's the entire basis for Good Ranchers. This is a company based in the United States that uses actual product from the United States. Whether you're interested in salmon, chicken, beef. We had steaks 3 nights ago, I think. My wife cooked amazing steaks for me and the boys direct from Good Ranchers. They ship it right to your house. You can save a bundle. You get incredible high quality. 85% of the grass fed beef sold in the U.S. is imported. These are American ranchers, American product coming to you straight from the United States. You're going to love it. No antibiotics or added hormones. Hamburgers, chicken, nuggets, whatever your kids are into, you can go on. Heck, hot dogs, bacon, chicken wings. You can go on and select exactly what you want. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Get shipped right to the house. And right now, you get $40 off. Go check it out. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look at it. Check it out for yourself. GoodRanchers.com. Great American brand. Use my name, Clay. You get free meat for life. Burgers, hot dogs, bacon, chicken wings. You can pick plus $40 off. GoodRanchers.com. My name, Clay. Do it for $40 off and free meat for life. GoodRanchers.com. My name, Clay. I feed it to my family. Ben and Corley feed it to their 4 kids. You're going to love them. GoodRanchers.com. Code Clay.